You must be mad. A time machine.
Yes, my friend, a time machine.
Don't you know that you're a grown-up? No games, no punch. Not allowed if you're a grown-up.
Hi, welcome to GenXGrownUp. My name is Mo, and I'm a GenXGrownUp. Ever since my brother took me to go see a movie called The Final Countdown back in 1980, I've always had a soft spot for time travel movies. That particular movie was about an aircraft carrier that gets thrown back in time to just before Pearl Harbor, and it was pretty silly. I've always been fascinated with them, and if you tell me a movie or a TV show has time travel in it, I'm at least going to watch it and see if it's interesting. There's a lot that we can discuss about the whole time travel genre, but today I really just want to focus on one part, and that's the actual machines themselves. I've always been fascinated because of just the variety of what people's imaginations have come up with. Whether it's really intricate to very simple, super high tech to garage built, rocket sleds to telephone booths. Really, since nobody knows what a time machine looks like, it's really just up to the imagination of the individual director and writer to come up with what they think it looks like and to make it something that's believable. In looking at what made a good time machine, I really only had a couple criteria. One was that it actually had to be a machine. Right? I didn't want any kind of natural phenomena or magic or anything else that could be used to move back and forth through time. And the other thing is that I wanted that machine to actually be kind of part of the story. When you actually saw the movie or watched the TV show, you actually saw the machine and remember seeing it, and because it was that important. So to start us off, I have a couple honorable mentions I want to talk about. These are machines that, for one reason or another, I didn't really fit my criteria for what a good time machine is, but I thought were still interesting enough to talk about. So my first honorable mention has got to be the kiln from Looper. Looper, fantastic movie, and the time machine they designed looked more like an industrial oven than a time machine, but you only really see it once and not for very long, which is why it didn't make my top list. My next honorable mention is the locomotive from Back to the Future 3. I just love the look of this thing, and it was just a very cool concept. Unfortunately, you really don't see it to the end of the third movie, and it really was essential to the plot, and the special effects were a little dated. But even with all of that, I remember seeing that and thinking that was a great way of ending the three films. The next one I want to talk about is the time leap device from Men in Black 3. It wasn't really that cool a device, to be quite honest, and it really wasn't central to the plot, but I thought the scene with him jumping off the Chrysler building to be just freaking hilarious. Another honorable mention has to be Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, The Phone Booth. It was a silly movie, everyone knows that. Not the first phone booth we used as a time machine, but the fact that it had George Carlin in it, that makes it worth a mention right there. The last one I want to just give an honorable mention to is the rocket sled from Time Cop. That was the movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. It wasn't a really good example of a time machine, to be quite honest. I never understood why you had to be on a rocket sled, and I definitely didn't understand why that track that the sled went on ended on a concrete wall. I thought it would make a lot more sense to just add more track and a ball pit or something at the end, just in case things go wrong. But either way, it was a time machine, and I thought I'd just give it a good mention. So now I really want to talk about what I consider to be, I guess, my top 7 time machines from TVs and movies. So coming in at number 7 is the giant condom ejector time machine from the movie 12 Monkeys. Terry Gilliam, his imagination is just off the charts, and what he came up with as what a time machine would look like was just so bizarre and different from anything else that you ever seen that I just figured it was worth a mention, and definitely has to make my top list of most memorable time machines. It wasn't in the movie very long, which is why I didn't rank higher on my list, but I thought it was just a fantastic concept. So number 6 on my list is the PVC box from the movie Primer. I think it's kind of strange how a movie like Primer, which was so complicated, had such a simple design for a time machine, but it definitely fit into the theme of the movie, and it looked like something that anybody could build if they take a trip to Home Depot and Radio Shack if they were still around. So I'm actually going to group 2 movies together for number 5, which is the Time Machine movie from 1960 and the remake they did back in 2002. These are both based on the H.G. Wells book, sorta. They were just gorgeous examples of Victorian England technology, steampunk before steampunk was a thing. And they designs were just so intricate and beautiful that they definitely had to make my top list. So coming in at number 4 on my list is I call it the Rust Ball from the TV series Timeless. I just love the idea that they're basically flying this prototype time machine while the bad guys have the nice, clean, high-tech looking one. But this one, I think, has a lot of charm to it. I want to just take a can of WD-40 to it, but I think it's pretty cool, and I think actually it's more of a creative design than what the final prototype looked like. Number 3 is the dentist chair from the TV series of 12 Monkeys. I thought they did an amazing job of reimagining the time machine from the movie. I thought the movie one would be kind of goofy to have in a TV series anyway. And the effects of when they shoot people back in time, I thought were just very, very visually satisfying. The other thing I like about this particular time machine is that it's one of the few that doesn't go with the traveler. It just shoots them ahead. So for that reason, that easily made my top 3 list. I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack between which one I made number 2 and which one I made number 1, but this is my opinion. As far as I'm concerned, my opinion is correct, so who cares? But I'm sure a lot of people have alternate opinions, which is fine, and I'd love to hear about them actually. For number 2, well, if you know this sound, then you know what I'm talking about. Yes, I am talking about the time and relative dimension in spacecraft, also known as the TARDIS. The TARDIS itself has been around since 1963 with the original Doctor Who, and actually hasn't changed that much. At least the outside hasn't. The inside has changed quite a bit for every single Doctor, and what easily makes this into a number 2 time machine for me. So not only is it a time and space machine which will take you anywhere in the universe, any time in the universe, it also has, amongst its other qualities, one unique feature that everyone remarks on the first time they see it.
The inside's bigger than the outside?
It's bigger on the inside. It's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
But it's bigger on the inside. Actually bigger.
That fact that it's actually bigger on the inside, can travel pretty much anywhere in time and space in the whole universe, definitely makes this the granddaddy of all time machines. So we've seen time machines that look like common items like telephone booths. There's incredibly detailed design, but my absolute favorite time machine of all time, without a doubt, has to be, well, take a look. Yes, it has to be the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Why a DeLorean? Well, as Doc Brown says,
the way I see it, if you're gonna build a time machine into a car, why not do it with some style? Besides, the stainless steel construction made the flux dispersal. I
just think it, besides just being totally cool looking, I think the idea that it had to get to a certain speed, 88 miles per hour, was such a great limitation on it that added to the plot and to the suspense throughout the entire series of movies. I think going forward, when people think DeLorean, they're going to think the Back to the Future time machine. I don't think people are going to remember very much that this was actually a car that was sold back in the 1980s. Hey, thanks for watching. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Whether I got something wrong, whether you agree, disagree, what I might have forgotten. So please leave comments below. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to share this with your friends. And remember that just because you get older doesn't mean you have to grow up.
Don't you know that you're a grown up?